Hello everyone, welcome back. So in the previous video, we worked on the post details model, and in this video, we're gonna work on post edit and post delete. And we're also gonna work on user profile section. So now if we open the post details model here, I want to show some icons on the top to delete or edit the post. So for that, first we will pass a property into the post card to show the delete icon. This will be true for this component, and then we're gonna pass some functions to delete or edit the post. So we will create a function on delete post, and then on edit we will trigger on edit post function. Now let's create these functions inside this component. This will be async function which will receive the item as the post. Let's just console log the item as delete post like this, and let's just copy this for the edit post as well. And this will say edit post. Okay, so now let's save this and go into the postcard component and receive these properties. By default, a show delete property will be false because I don't want to show these icons on the home screen. And for functions, let's use empty functions by default. We will only show these actions whenever the show delete property is true inside the post details model, and we're gonna add one more condition, as if the current user is the post owner, only then we will show these icons. So let's add a condition here. If show delete is true and if the current user ID equals to the item.user ID, that means this user created this post, so he can delete or edit this post. So in that case, we will just return a view and give this a style of icons. And let's close this. Um, I don't think we have the icons style. I think it's the actions. So let's change this to actions, and we have the following styles for the actions. We're using flex direction as row because we're gonna show two icons in a row. So let's just copy this action and paste it here. So this will be edit icon, and when we click on this, this will trigger on edit function. And let's change the icon name to edit. Then let's change the size to 2.5, and let's save this. So we won't see this on this post details because this is not my post. So let's see if we have any post from this account. Here we have my post. So if I open the post details, there we can see the edit icon, but let's just remove the stroke width. And let's save this. So now it looks good. Now let's just copy this for the delete icon, and we'll change the icon name to delete. And we're gonna use the rose color from our theme like this, so it looks good. So if I open any other post, we won't see this because this is not my post, and this works fine. Now I want to show a delete model when we click on the delete icon. So let's add a handle post delete function, and this will just confirm the user if he really wants to delete this post. So let's create this function here, and inside this we're gonna use the alert. So let's just use the same alert we used for deleting the comments. So let's go into the comment item, and here let's just copy this alert and paste it here. Let's import the alert. It's already imported, and we don't really need to change anything because we will just call this on delete function and pass the item. So we are already getting this function from the parent component here. So everything looks all right. So let's just save this and test this. So let's open the terminal. And now if I click on this delete icon and hit delete, we see this delete post console log from our parent component. And if I click on the edit, um, I think this is the event when we click on any button. So yeah, here we need to pass the item. So let's just add a function which will call this on delete function, and we need to pass the item. This will be the post. So let's save this. And now if we click on the edit icon, we see this console log from the parent component. So everything's working great. Now let's go into the parent component post details. this one. And now we need to call the API when we hit the delete icon. So let's just add a comment here, delete post here. Now let's go into our post service. And here let's just duplicate this remove comment function, and let's change the name to remove post. This will save the post ID. And we need to delete the data from the post table. So let's change this from comments to posts. And let's add the post ID here. Now let's change this error to remove post error. And the message will say could not remove the post. So let's change this. And then we just need to return the post ID and the data like this. So this function is done. Now let's go into the post details. And here let's just call this function, and this will give us a response. So let's use the remove post function, and we need to use the item.id as the parameter, but we can also use the post data since we have the post object in the post details component. So either way, it's gonna work the same. Now, if the result.success is true, that means the post is deleted, and in that case, we will just go back to the previous screen like this. And if the success is false, that means we have an error. So let's use an alert to show this error to the user like this. And let's just save this. So now let's see if this is working. So I'm just deleting this test post. So we go back, and that means the post is deleted, but we still see this post in the home feed, and this will be fixed later. But for now, let's just refresh the app. And now if I scroll down, we won't see this post. Okay, so the post is gone. Now I want to test this again. So let's create a new test post and hit post. Cannot convert undefined value to object. Okay, I know why this error occurred. So when we create a new post in the post listener, we update the post state, and that's where we need to add an empty array of the comments and the likes. So that's why it's causing this error. So in this handle post event, we need to add an empty array of post likes for this new post. And we need to do this for the comments, but for comments we need to follow the same syntax we are using in the post card component. So here we need to add an array with an object, and the property will be count as 0. So let's save this, and hopefully this won't happen again. So let's create a new test post, test2, and hit post. So there we can see our new post. So this is working fine. Now let's open the post details, and now if I click on delete, if we go back, that means the post is deleted, but we have to refresh the app to see the updated home feed like this. But we need to fix this, and we will add one more condition inside this function, and we will check for another event. So if the payload.event type equals to delete, that means a post is deleted. And in that case, we will just update the post state. So now let me just console log the payload and see what do we get when we delete a post. Let's save this, and now let's try to delete this post. So the post is deleted, and we can see in the console event type is delete, and we have the post ID in the old object. So this is the deleted post ID, and we can use this to add into the condition. So if the payload.event is delete and we have the payload.old.id, then it means we deleted a post and we need to update the post state. So let's use the set post function, and this will give us all the previous posts in a callback. So let's create the updated post, and we will filter out all the posts where the post ID is not equal to the one that we just deleted. So post.id is not equal to the payload.old.id like this. And then we just return the updated posts. Now let's save this and see if this is working. So let's just refresh the app, and let's create a new post. So there we can see our post, and let's open the post details. And now if I delete the post, We go back and now we don't see the deleted post and the home feed is updated as well. So let's just comment this and now we're gonna work on edit post. So if I open the post details, this is not my post. So actually let's just create a new post from this account and then we will edit that. So let's include an image. Let's use this one and then add a caption as on the top of the word. Then hit post. So there we can see our new post, and if I open the post details, there we can see the actions, and now we're gonna work on edit action. So let's go into the post card. So the idea is when we click on this icon, we need to move to the new post screen where we'll just fill all the existing post data. We need to go into the post details, and then from there user will be able to update this post. So on this function, we need to use the router and then push a new route. So the name will be new post, and for the parameters we'll just separate the item. So this will be the post data on this new post screen. So let's save this, and now if I click on the edit icon, we will move to the new post screen. Actually we do move to the next screen, but for some reason this model is not dismissed. So to fix this, we're gonna move back from this model and then to this new screen. So here let's use router.back. So this will dismiss the model and then we will move to the new post screen. So if I open the post details and click on the edit, we move to the new post screen and the model is dismissed. So now we need to show this post data that we passed from the previous component, and to be able to fetch this data, we will use a hook called use local search params. This will get us all the parameters that we passed from the previous component. So let's just console log it and see if we got this data. So in the console, we can see we got this post data that includes the body, the comments, and the file. So we only need the body and the file to fill this data. Now if I open the new post screen from the home screen, we won't see this because we didn't pass the post data. Let me just remove this console log, and there we can see the post is empty object. Now let's go back to open post details, hit edit. There we can see the post data. Now we need to fill this data, and for that we need to define a use effect hook. So let's create a hook here. Then let's add an empty dependency array, and first we will check if we have the post from the previous component. So this will be true, and in that case we will set the body reference dot current value to the post body. So we have this reference to hold the post bodies, and this will be post dot body. Then we need to set the file if we have any. So post dot file or null if we don't have any file. So let's save this, and we don't see the editor content, but we do see this icon, and there we can see the image. So this image is coming from a remote URL. So there we can see we used a function get Supabase file URL, and this is being used to show this remote file. So now we're gonna update the content inside the editor, and to update this we're gonna use the editor reference. So let's use it here, editor reference dot current. Then we can use a function called set content HTML. Then we need to pass the post body here, and let's save this. So there we can see the content is updated, but we have an issue with this. So if I open the post details and hit edit, we can see the image is updated but the content is not updated, and that's because it takes some time to load this library. So we're gonna use the set timeout function to update this content editor. So we will use 300 milliseconds and then we will update the content of this editor. So now if I go back and open the post details, hit edit, so there we can see the content is updated and the image is updated. So now we need to change this button to update when we have the post data. So let's use a condition as post and post.id. In that case, this will say update. Otherwise, it will say post like this, and let's save this. So there we can see it's saying update because we are updating this post. So now let's see what do we need to change in the API. So let's go into this function. And actually we don't need to edit anything here. We're using upsert function, and this handles the inserting and updating as well. And the only thing we're gonna do is include the post ID when we are updating. So here, after defining the data, we will add a condition if we have the post and the post ID. That means we are updating this, so we need to include the ID into the data. So now it will hopefully update the post instead of creating a new one. So let's save this and see if this is working. So let's just update the post content to updated and then hit update. So we go back, that means it worked, but we don't see the changes here. So let's open the post details, and there we can see the post content is updated. Now let's edit this again, and this time we're gonna update the post file. So let's just remove this one and choose a new image. Let's choose this one and then hit update. So we go back and it's updated, but now let's open the post details to see the updated post. And there we can see the content is updated and the image is updated, but this is not updated in the home feed. That will fix in a second. Now let's create a new test post and hit post. Then let's just refresh the app, and now we will see the updated changes in the post. Now to fix this, we will have to listen for the post updates in the home screen. So let's go into the home screen, and here where we are listening for the post events, we will just copy this insert event and paste it here. Let's change this to update, and whenever a post is updated, this will be triggered and we will get the updated data in the new object. And we need to update the post, so this will give us the previous post within a callback. Now let's define the updated posts. So we need to use map function on this post, and for each post we will have a condition if the post id equals to the payload.new.id. So if this is true, that means this post is updated, and in that case we will just update the post body and the post file from the payload.new.body and the file like this. Now let's return this post, and then we also need to return the updated post as well. So let's save this and see if this is working. Now we have this test post. So if I open the post details, then hit edit, and let's change this to testing post update, then hit update. So there we can see the post is updated in the home feed as well. And if I open the post details, we can see the updated post data. Now let's edit this one more time, and this time we will include an image. So let's choose these flowers, and let's also change this post body to colors like this, and then hit update. So now we can see the body is updated and we see the new image. So post update is working as well. So with this, remove and edit posts are done. Now we're gonna work on the user profile section and fetch the user post and then implement the post pagination. Let's go into the user profile, and here the bottom section looks very empty. So let's go into the profile section. And here we're using this user header component, and the only reason to create this is because now we're gonna use flat list, and this can be used as a flat list header component now. So we're gonna have the same structure as the home screen. So let's just copy the states from this component and then paste it here. Then we also need a limit variable, so let's add it here and give this a value of 0. Now let's go into the home screen, and here let's just copy the get post function. This is the one. So let's just copy this and then paste it here. So we don't need to change anything. So let's import a fetch post function, and this will fetch the post and set them into the state. Now we also need to pass one more parameter as the user ID, and we have the user object from our use auth hook. And let's just save this. Use case doesn't exist, so let's just import it and save this. Now if I go into the profile, We don't see any error. So and now we need to go into the fetch post function, and here let's receive this user ID. So here, based on this user ID, we need to fetch the post for only that user. So let's just copy this code, and here we'll make a condition. If we have the user ID, then I will fetch the user post, but if we don't have the user ID, then we'll fetch all the posts like this. So we'll use the same code. There won't be any drastic changes, but we will only just add one condition here. So let's use a function eq, and this will make a condition if the user ID equals to this user ID that we passed, and this will fetch only that user's post, and we will show it in the profile section. Now it should be fetching all the user posts and setting them in the post state. So now let's use a flat list component and show these posts here. Let's add the data as the posts. um, Actually, instead of writing all the properties, let's just copy the flat list component from the home screen, because all the properties will be the same. So let's copy this and paste it here, and let me just format this. Okay, so the data is the post, and then vertical scroll bar is hidden. We have the list style, and the key extractor is the ID. Now we need to import this post card component from the components, and here we are passing the item and the current user. So make sure you import this current user from the use auth hook. Yes, we have imported. Then we have the router, and then we're calling this get post function when we reach the end of this flat list. So let's import this loading component, and this will say no more posts when we have fetched all the posts. So let's save this and see if this is working. So there we see the loading and the header component at the bottom, and now we can see all the posts from this account, and the pagination is working as well. So now this is working, but we need to move this user header to the top of the screen. So let's just copy this, and in the flat list we can define a list header. So let's use list header component, and we're gonna use the user header here. So let's save this. So now if I scroll to top, we see our header. Now we need to add some space between the content and the header, and we can use a property as list header component style. So let's give it a margin bottom of 30 pixels, and let's save this. So now we have some space at the bottom. Now let's just refresh and see the profile again. So this is our home feed. Now let's go into the profile. We see the loading, and then we see all the posts from this account only, and the pagination is working as well. So if I scroll down, it's fetching more posts, and if I scroll all the way down, we see no more posts. So now I want to change a few of the things. So I want to decrease the space on the top when we don't have any posts. So let's change this to 100 pixels, and by default we are fetching 4 posts. So let's change this to 10, and let's also change this to 10 in the home screen. So now it will fetch 10 posts on the first try, and when we scroll down on the second time, it will fetch 20. So we can like the post, or let's try to create a comment, test, and hit send. There we can see the new comment, and if I try to edit the post, this works as well, and everything is working great. So this is it for this video, and in the next video we'll work on notifications. So see you in the next one.